Welcome back to today's Global. Now, a new report has warned that an estimated 400 million children around the world are excluded from basic services such as healthcare and education because of discrimination. The global charity Save the Children says that just because of their gender, ethnicity, religion or disability, millions of children will not get a chance in life. Well, just a short while ago, I spoke to the new head of Save the Children International, former Danish Prime Minister Helle Thorning Schmidt.
First of all, it's important to remember how far we have come as the world. I mean, the world has never seen healthier or wealthier or better educated children than we're doing right now. So it's important to think and to know that we have come very far. But underneath these figures, underneath these averages of children that are better off, there are so many children that are not better off. And these are the marginalized, the forgotten children. And these children, they have a double situation. Not only are they poor, but they are also systematically discriminated against, be it because they are girls, refugees, disabled, street children. These children are discriminated against, and we have to do something extra, something special to reach these last children. And this is what our new campaign is all about. We want the world to start thinking of the last child that will not be helped only if we eradicate poverty, but where we have to eradicate discrimination to help these children.
I'll ask how you do it in just a moment, but the research you've done right across the globe in so many different countries, you conclude that discrimination globally is getting worse. Really, it is getting worse in your view?
That is what our figures are showing. Of course, this is an area where we don't have the full pictures because for some countries, many countries, they don't record these children. And look, for example, at a group of non-registered children. We have millions of children in the world that don't even have a name. They don't belong anywhere. They're not registered in their country. And what does that mean? That means that they can't get access to services that are natural to other children. Services like health and education. If you're not registered, if you don't have a name, you don't have access to all these things. So, of course, we will have to look at this and try to find out what is behind the figures that we see. And we have asked a number of people, and we have worked out that 40% of people think that they have been discriminated against, and that has actually stifled their opportunities and meant that they have lost opportunities and meant that they are more marginalized than they would otherwise have been.
The reasons vary so much. You can be talking about conflict in some parts of the world. You can talk about refugee status like Lebanon in other parts of the world. You can talk about simply gender, being a girl. So given there are so many different problems, how do you even begin to work out what the solutions are?
First of all, we need to talk about this, and we need to understand that if we just carry on with business as usual and think this is a poverty problem, we will not find the real solution. We have to understand that the children that are marginalized now, they are marginalized not only because they are poor, as I said before, but also because they are systematically discriminated against. And only when we start tackling that discrimination, be it in the household, in the community, in the village, or in national and international politics, only when we start tackling that discrimination will we see a change. And we have to start from somewhere. One of the things we will be doing, Save the Children in India, is that we will register 500,000 street children, 500,000 children that suddenly will have an identity and will be able to get access to services. We will also talk about girls. We can see that girls marry far too early, and we will tackle every kind of discrimination systematically. We can't do it alone. We need countries, we need the international community, and we need everyone to help us doing this.
You've talked about legislation, you've talked about finance, you've talked about changing attitudes. I mean, I hate to bring up that selfie moment with Barack Obama, but does it help at all being a former Prime Minister who's rubbed shoulders with world leaders in trying to change the status quo? Because the reality of it is that it's an incredibly difficult thing to do.
This is incredibly difficult, but I don't want us to sit back and think we can't do anything, because the fact of the matter is that we are better off now than we were 10 or 20 years ago. Children are, as I started out saying, wealthier and healthier and better educated. So what should stop us now? Well, only the lack of ambition. So what I'm trying to say to the world these days when Save the Children are launching our new campaign is that this is our promise to children of the world. We will try to do everything we can to break down the barriers that the most marginalized children are facing. And of course we can do it. I can do it perhaps as I have 20 years in politics now. I've come to Save the Children. But no one can do this alone. So we need politicians, national politicians. We need everyone to be involved in this. And one last thing. We need also communities, because nothing will change about these things if we don't change the norms. We bring up our children, so everyone has to be involved in this.
Save the Children with the launch of their new